Hey, thanks for spending time out of your day with me. Today we are talking about how to save a relationship. Oftentimes we find ourselves in a crisis when it comes to our relationship. We may have someone in our lives that we do value and we love, but yet our relationship is in trouble for whatever reason. And so now it's time to gather our arsenal and begin doing those things that are going to help the relationship rather than contribute to its destruction. First and foremost, you want to make sure that you dispense with egos. Egos keep us steeped in self-centeredness, combativeness, reactivity, and the need to sort of play tit for tat and put our interests first at the expense of the other person in the relationship. What you want to do is you want to try more often to come from a place of love, come from a place of gratitude, and come from a place of compassion and patience. When you're able to do this more often, which takes some active practice, but it can definitely be accomplished, when you're able to come from these places more often, then you're able to solve problems and bring resolution to some of the challenges in the relationship in entirely different ways. When you stop and you fully breathe and you decide that, okay, I'm going to be grateful, or I'm going to be patient, or I'm going to exercise a little compassion, and I'm going to put myself in this person's shoes, you dispense with ego, and suddenly your entire mindset and the level of consciousness can actually expand, giving you the tools in that moment to address the situation very differently, or to address communication in a different manner. The second thing that you want to do is, in dealing with your mate, you want to try to be present, fully present, more often than you have been in the past. Why? Because when you're fully present in the moment, meaning that you're attending to all of the nuances and the subtleties that are being experienced in the now, there's a greater likelihood that you're going to have gratitude. There's a greater likelihood that your vibration is going to be higher. There's obviously the reality that you're not going to be in the past blaming your mate for something that has happened, or you're not going to be worrying about the future either. You're grounded in the moment, which means that this is where your power is to direct and control, and to be mindful of creating your ideal. When you're mindful of creating your ideal, which comes from being present in the moment, you have power. And how does that power happen? It happens because when we slow down and we're present in the moment, then we allow the natural energy of creativity, of creative power, of the genesis of things. We allow that to have full expression, which means suddenly there's so many different ways to look at a situation, or there's so many different resolutions to bring closure, to so many different ways to bring closure and resolution to a situation. So cultivating that is very, very, very important. The other thing you want to make sure you do is you want to eliminate any third-party influences that have been destructive in the relationship. There was something that I heard from a friend many years ago, and the statement was that the only thing that comes between two people is a third person. And oftentimes that can be correct. Although not in all situations, oftentimes it can be correct. A lot of times what can come between two people involves another energy, whether it be a family member, an in-law, another romantic relationship, something else that's creating a schism in that relationship. So you want to eliminate the possibility that anything else is impacting the way you may be viewing your mate. Let's say, for example, let's say, for example, that you have a friend that you've been talking to, someone who's been advising you, and someone you've been sharing the details of your relationship with, and you're taking their advice or whatever, you're listening to them, they're in your ear. That's going to affect the way that you are communicating, managing, seeing, reacting, and responding to your significant other. So you're going to have to bring a stop to that, like right away. Another thing that can help you save a relationship is to recognize that it only takes one person. And since you happen to be the one watching this video, then you can be the one that actually changes the dynamics of the relationship. You don't have to have two people to save a relationship. It really only takes one. Change your energy, you can change the relationship. And that's something that's very important to realize, because a lot of times people have this misconception that their mate has to be involved, or that if they don't want to change, then the relationship is not going to work. Don't worry about that part at this point. It's a little too early to actually jump to that conclusion. What you want to do is impact change where you actually can. You don't want to give up your personal agency just because you feel that it takes two people to actually solve a relationship or to keep the love flowing. Just remember that you have the power, and empower yourself to actually be the one that does that. Change your frequency, change your reality is basically what I'm saying. If you change your frequency, outside of, I'm talking about, this is different than just realizing you can change the relationship. If you change your frequency, then you're going to experience a different reality. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. If you change the way that you are expending your energy, processing your energy, and processing what's going on around you by raising your frequency, and you begin to feel a heightened sense of well-being and a greater vibration, you're going to find that everything in your life will take a shift, a corresponding shift. Your reality will change. The things that you need to actually nurture yourself will change. Your needs, your desires, your wants will change because your reality is shifting. So as you change your frequency, the way you look at your relationship and the possibilities may change as well. Now, there are cases where changing your frequency will cause you to leave a relationship. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is that by changing the way you experience life, you will change the way you experience your relationship. And oftentimes when we are in a situation that is problematic, we cannot see a solution. And oftentimes in a relationship situation, the reason why we can't see a solution is because we're a part of the problem. And you can't even see how you're influencing what is happening in the relationship because you can't be objective. You can be more objective when you transcend the problem. And the only way to transcend the problem is to open yourself up to another world of possibilities and to actually expand. And the only way for you to do that is to raise your vibration and to come into contact with something different. So that is very important. So there are millions of ways to raise your vibration. You can research that on the internet. There's so many different things you can do. From meditation to self-care to relaxation to deep breathing to yoga to challenging yourself to change the way you think, to reprogramming your mind, to healing difficult emotions and traumatic situations. There's just so many things that you can do. The bottom line of what I'm saying is that you have to get into a different space. You can't continue to be in the space that you're in, thinking the way that you're thinking, feeling the way that you're feeling, doing what you're doing, experiencing life at the level that you're experiencing life, and thinking that anything is going to change. You won't feel empowered either if you try to do it from the same point of view or vantage point. So those are the things that actually have to change. As well, watching how you communicate with the one that you love is very important. Usually when a relationship is in trouble, communication has broken down. And no one is hearing the other person. Each person is frantically upset with not feeling validated or being heard, or the other partner they feel is not compassionate, or they don't feel that that person is listening to them. They feel unimportant, so forth and so on. The level of communication has to change. It can start with one person because that can change the communication dynamic as well. So what you want to do is you want to begin to watch the things that you say. You want to watch the way that you may judge and be critical. You want to watch your tone. You want to remember the ultimate goal of why you're communicating and do those things that will actually increase the likelihood that you can be heard. Sometimes that may mean not saying anything at all for a certain period of time. And I'm not talking about silent treatment. What I'm saying is, when you can't say something nice or when you can't be in charge of your emotions, sometimes it's best not to say anything at all, or just to take a break, or just to say less and give yourself time to process and not be as reactive. Last but not least, key to trying to save a relationship is remembering personal responsibility and being willing to accept your role in what is going on and apologize when necessary and when needed. People need to know that you take responsibility for your role in what is going on, or that you acknowledge where you're actually wrong. And remember that when you acknowledge or when you apologize, it's not to be done for the purpose of that person then apologizing back to you. Apologizing for you is so that you can move past, you can acknowledge the wrong, you can move past it and start the healing process. Don't look to apologize so that someone else can then apologize to you. Make sure when you do it, you're doing it in the most sincere spirit, and you realize that by apologizing, you are trying to atone and change the energy of what has occurred up to this point, and you can help to free the other person by validating their concern when you apologize, and it also helps aid in you taking responsibility. As you begin to apologize for something too, as well, another treasured nugget is sometimes in the apology itself, as you begin to give it from a sincere place, you will find that there are other things that need to be apologized or atoned for as well, or you begin to feel more sensitive and compassionate as you apologize. So it opens up an avenue of expansion in terms of your emotion and your ability to have empathy. I hope that you received something from the video that you feel was empowering, and I hope that you like, subscribe, or comment on the video. Again, this is Tunisia Ali with butterflytransformations.com. You can reach me at that website anytime. Thank you and have a wonderful day.